make room for God. I 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 make room for God. Clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room for God. Oh, I make room for God. 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 Oh, I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak for me. Clearing out a space so God can love for me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room. Na na na. Na 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 na. I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. I'm clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. Oh, I make room. For God. For God. I make room for God so God can speak through me. I make room. I make room. Room for God so God can move through me. I make room for God. Make room for so God can move through me. I'm clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. Oh, I make room for God, for God. I make room for God so God can speak through me. I make room, I make room for God so God can move through me. I make room for God, make room for God so God can move through me. And it's in my surrender that I found power. Yes, it's in my surrender that I am made stronger. I make room, I make room for God so God can move. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. I make room for you. I make room for you. Room for you. I make room for God. 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 Clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room, I make room for God, for God. Oh, I make room for God. Oh, I make room for God. 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 Oh, I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room, I make room for God, for God. Oh, I make room. Na na na. Na 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 na. I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. I'm clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. Oh, I make room. make room for God. I 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 make room for God. Clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room for God. Oh, I make room for God. I make room for God. I make room for God. Oh, I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room. Na na na. Na 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 na. I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. I'm clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. Oh, I make room. For God. For God. I make room for God so God can speak through me. I make
Hello, hello, happy Sunday, CSC family. It is so very good to be here with each and every one of you. It is so very good to be here with our Celebration Spiritual Center family on this Sunday morning. And of course, we gather together to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God flowing in, through, and as us. We're going to ground ourselves, as we always do, with prayer. And I invite you to close your eyes. I'm going to read for you the second half of verse 67 in the Tao Te Ching. I have three treasures that I cherish and hold dear. The first is love. The second is moderation. The third is humility. With love, one is fearless. With moderation, one is abundant. With humility, one can fill the highest position. Now, if one is fearless but has no love, abundant but has no moderation, rises up but has no humility, surely he is doomed. Love vanquishes all attackers. It is impregnable in defense. When heaven wants to protect someone, does it send an army? No, it protects him with love. And so in this moment, I invite you to just take a breath in through your nose and exhale from your mouth. Centering yourself here now, we breathe in, we breathe out. We breathe in, we breathe out. And placing your hand on your heart, I invite you to affirm, I am here now.
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 There is only one mind, only one power, only one presence that is working in all, through all, and as all, that is working in us, through us, and as us, that is working in you, through you, and as you. There is one life. That life is Mother, Father, God. That life is good. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. That life is your life now. That life is our life now. That life is the life of the planet. That life is the life of every sun. That life is the life of every moon. That life is the life of every galaxy. That life is the life of every blade of grass. That life is our life now. And as I recognize that it is, and it is here now, I know that God, I know that good, I know that love, I know that anything that we could ever desire God the good to be is here now. It neither comes nor goes. It is present with us in the mountain. It is present with us in the valley. It is present with us in hope. It is present with us in despair. It is present with us in good health. It is present with us when we are sick. It is present now, now. Now, all of God, all power, all knowledge, all wisdom, all joy, all ease, all grace is here now. And as we put the focus of our attention on that reality, we also recognize and remember that we are here now. Because we live, move, and have our being in God, and God lives, moves, and has its expression in, through, and as us. We are one with God and one of God. That can never change. We can never be separate from the source that is. Like the roots of a tree, so we are rooted and grounded in the ground of all being. We are rooted and grounded in the all that is. We are rooted and grounded in answers. We are rooted and grounded in love. We are rooted and grounded in God the good. And so it is out of this awareness that I speak this word in faith, recognizing that each of us have gathered here today for a reason. And each of us have gathered here today for a purpose, that each and every one of us have gathered today with an intention. And I declare that every intention is responded to, that every desire is responded to now, that every need is supplied now, that every question is answered today. We recognize and acknowledge that the weekend service is an opportunity for us to remember and be reminded of the power and presence of God that is and that is flowing in, through, and as us. To remember and be reminded that we are powerful beyond measure. To remember and be reminded that love is here now. To remember and be reminded that we are worthy. To remember and be reminded that we have power and we have agency in our lives. To remember and be reminded that love vanquishes all. And so it is from this place of awareness that we now release this prayer. We release this prayer and step into the receptive nature of receiving what it is we have declared will be. We allow the weekend service to heal us. We allow the weekend service to guide us. We allow the weekend service to enliven us. We allow the weekend service to enlighten us. We allow the weekend service to excite us into a new awareness and possibility of who and what we are. So it is with great joy. It is with great joy. It is with great joy that I release this prayer, releasing it back into the law, which is always in operation, because I recognize God as law as love, is always responding to us and becoming based on the feeling tone of the word that we have spoken. So we expect, we know that it shall be. And from this place of knowing, we say with confidence, amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it is, and so it must be. Well, hello again. Happy Sunday, beautiful people. It's so very good to be here with all of you as we gather together for this weekend service. It is so wonderful to be here on another Sunday with our family, joined in one mind, joined in consciousness to remember and celebrate what is absolutely true. If you are a first-time guest, if you have been invited or somehow came upon this stream and are here for the very first time, hello, welcome. It is so very good to be here with you. It's so very good to have you. You can feel free to say hello in the comments, shout out, and let us know where you're connecting in from. We have folks all across the CSC family that are connecting all over the U.S. and actually all over the world. But it's okay if you don't feel comfortable sharing where you're connecting in from. That's okay. We're just happy that you're here. And what you see here on your screen is how you access your digital connection card. This is how you can stay in touch with us and we can stay in touch with you. All you have to do is text the word welcome to that number on the screen, 347-472-1078. Just the word welcome, no additional messages are needed, and you'll receive an automated reply with a link. That link will take you to the digital connection card. And the most important piece of information there is your email address. We actually don't ask for a bunch of things because we don't want to waste your time, but we need your email address in order to actually add you to the mailing list. And at that point, then you'll receive all communication that we send out on a weekly basis. There's a weekly newsletter, email update that comes out each week, and any other correspondence that is necessary for the entire community, you'll receive that as well. So again, we encourage you to join the mailing list, and more importantly, we're happy that you're here. We're clear and we are confident that something will be done, something will be said that will support you in living an empowered life, that will support you in thriving on this week, that will support you in remembering the truth of who and whose you are, who and what you are. And as you begin to see yourself in a new way, you will begin to live in a powerful way. And so we invite you to just sit back and receive. So before we get into our news and updates, I do want to say this, because we're not going to delve deeply into the events of the world for a number of reasons. We see right now that there's a lot of division in dialogue, right? And so we definitely do not intend to contribute to any harm in any way. But as a spiritual community, as your pastors, first, what we want to say is that our hearts are with everyone that is mourning. Our hearts are with everyone that is grieving. We know that there are so many people hurting for so many different reasons. And as those that seek to embody love, that's where we start. Right? We don't start with the geopolitical context or any of those things. As those who choose to lead with love, we are mourning with those who mourn. We are grieving with those who grieve. As your pastors, the next thing I think that's important for us to remind you of is to guard your mind and heart, because there is a lot of division and dialogue, right? And it's important that you don't have to post. You don't have to contribute to conversations. You also don't have to live in a minute by minute, hour by hour accounting of what's going on, because what's happening, there's a lot of devastation that's happening. And so, yes, you want to be informed. Yes, you want to know what's going on. Yes, you may want to know what's going on because that informs how you pray. That informs how you hold the presence of peace and the presence of love. All good to be informed. But there's a difference between being informed and listening, having CNN on all day, right? And so it's important as people of faith, as people that are choosing to live and lead from love, that we guard our hearts and minds, because otherwise we will inevitably get pulled into, again, some of the divisive dialogue that's happening, things that we share with good intention are misconstrued, et cetera, et cetera. And this is something that we say when any of these events come forward, right? I'm thinking about some of the things that we shared after the murder of George Floyd, the murder of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and so many other events that have taken place in this country and around the world. It is important that you really, really take care of yourself in this moment, right? And so that's where we begin, right? Again, speaking to truth to power and all of those things have their place, but right here and right now, as your pastors, this is what's most important for us to share with you, and we encourage you to also really hold that posture of recognizing that there are so many on our planet right now that are hurting. There are so many families that are grieving and mourning. And that's where we want to put the focus of our attention in terms of what is ours to do, right?
We hold it from a place of knowing that love will win out in the end. We hold it from a place of knowing that we see ourselves in those who mourn and those who grieve and those who are frightened and those who fear for their lives. We hold all of that knowing that we too have been in those places where we've been afraid, uncertain, unsafe. We pray from the place of safety and peace.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so from this point, we'll move forward with our news and updates. Today is the third Sunday, which means it is God Talk Sunday. And what is God Talk Sunday? It's your opportunity to ask questions. We recognize that the metaphysical path brings up a lot of questions, and most of us, as we come to these teachings, there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen. And so you may have questions as you want to apply things you've heard in the sermon or a song or the meditation or something that you read in a book that was recommended, or just a new thought metaphysical text. We also know that as you continue to walk this path, you're deepening your experience, you're deepening your practice, and you want to learn how to apply the principles to a specific situation that's going on in your life. The God Talk is a wonderful time to ask questions. You may have questions even as we talk about the events of the world, right? Well, how do I hold this? Or you may have a specific situation related to your life as it relates to the events in the world. And we're happy to support you in answering those questions. This is not a spiritual counseling session, nor is it a substitution for therapy. It really is a targeted experience in applying spiritual principles, new thought principles, metaphysical principles to what's showing up in your life. And so that happens via Zoom. The link and password is shared via email. If you are a first-time guest, once you join our mailing list, you'll receive a follow-up email with the link to join the God Talk if you're interested in doing that. And you will see the information later on in the stream, again, how to join the mailing list by accessing the digital connection card. But we look forward to seeing many of you today at 1 p.m. It is always a powerful experience. We always leave better than when we walked in, and grateful for having been through the powerful questions and answers. As a free gift to each and every one of you, I am offering you all a free download of one of the songs from my album. That song is I Make Room. As our theme this month, our sermon series is Making Room for God. And we've been hearing that as the countdown for the stream progresses. And so I encourage you to scan that QR code and download the song. If for whatever reason you're not able to scan the QR code, if you're on our mailing list, there's a link in the Friday email as well that'll take you directly there so that you can listen online or download the MP3 and add it to your collection. Our series of the month, this month takes us back to October 2015. Superstition Ain't the Way. Stevie Wonder so profoundly wrote, when you believe in things you don't understand, you suffer. And of course, that's what superstition does. It actually causes us to suffer because there's so many things that we've been taught to be superstitious of, and it's without questioning it or having a full understanding of it. And so we start that series with the sermon, Whose Devil Is It Anyway? And I really break open lots of thoughts and ideas about who and what the so-called devil is, who and what Lucifer is, who and what Satan is. And it really starts to debunk some things, and I'm sure that you will learn some things that you didn't know. And then you can release the idea of two powers, release the idea that there's some other power in opposition to the one power. And we go on from there in the series, breaking apart and calling out other superstitions that absolutely do not serve us. Powerful series. I encourage you to check it out. As always, we encourage you to share, like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate your comments throughout the stream, and of course, any of the posts that you see on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. We always encourage you to share the stream, share it on your pages, share it wherever you like to share things across the social media sphere. And of course, subscribe if you're not already following our Facebook page. Please do that. If you haven't already subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe. It's wonderful because you also get notifications before the stream happens. Every Sunday you'll get a notification 30 minutes before the stream happens, and then any other things that we post, you'll get those notifications as well. Every Sunday morning, we gather together in prayer, intentionally in prayer, for the Momentum Prayer Call that happens Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is call in before 7 a.m. and enter the access code and wait. We share a reading, and then that reading grounds the prayer. It is a wonderful way to keep the momentum going that we create on Sunday, and also to jumpstart your day, jumpstart your morning in the middle of the week, right? Folks have lots of beliefs about hump day. It's Momentum Prayer Day for us, right? Mm-hmm. It's an affirmational day for us. It's an intentional day for us. Very short call, lasts about 10 minutes, and then we move on with our day. If for some reason you're not able to make the call live, which is all good, there's a playback number. Every prayer is recorded. Also, you may just need to tap into the vibration of prayer at some other time during the week, and that's available to you. Use the playback number, enter the access code, and the most recent prayer will play. If you have a prayer request, you can send that prayer request to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. That prayer request is received by all of our prayer champions, and it is also received by Pastor Yolanda and myself. And we collectively continue to hold our entire community in prayer. We are always seeing and knowing the very best for you, but we know that you may have a specific prayer request. You may have a prayer request on behalf of someone else, and we're happy to receive that, and we're happy to stand in the absolute knowing with you about that thing. We also encourage you that as your prayer is answered, as a shift has happened, that you let us know about that as well. We're confident that prayer works, and it's always wonderful to hear how prayer is working in, through, and as your life. And that concludes our news and updates for this Sunday, which means we get to move into the posture of meditation. We get to go within as we are led in the meditation experience with Pastor Yolanda.
Yes, we get to experience God for ourselves. We spend time teaching classes and working with you one-on-one and God talking about concepts and what's going on in your life. But it is only when you experience God within you for you that you know that what we're saying is real and true. We're talking about making room for God in our message series, in our prayers, in the music, and in the meditation. I make room for God. I make room for love. I make room for peace. You see, if your God concept is a little askew, you cannot give or trust God. We've talked about this month. The opportunity to enter, the opportunity to remain connected, the opportunity to provide answers. For God is love. God is infinite intelligence. God is all wisdom, all knowledge. If you feel uncertain, then you have not made room for God. If you're feeling fear, doubt, or worry, then it's time to clear out a space for God to occupy. It's time to clear out and make room for God. Now, if you're finding yourself feeling any of those emotions or in a place of worry, doubt, or fear, forgive yourself, set yourself free, and bring yourself back to the knowing that in this very moment, right here and now, I clear out a space and I make room for God. So we're going to do that together. We're going to use this affirmative thought. We're going to release any tension in our bodies. We're going to center our mind, awareness, and breath on the power and presence and knowingness that is God, and make room right here and right now. So let's do that. Let's begin by becoming so present right where you are. Bring your feet to the floor, allowing your spine to be erect, allowing shoulders over hips, nice long line of energy. And from this place, plant the palms on the tops of the thighs and just look around the room. Notice where you are. Come on, go ahead. It's okay. Look around the room. I need you to be present with me. I need you to recognize that there's something else going on than the external environment. I need you to make room for God. And from this place of knowing that you are here now, that you are present, allow your eyelids to close. And that soft, gentle release of the eyelids, feeling right now into this present moment, is all we need to do to signal our connection to begin. With our eyes closed now, let's just notice our breath for a few moments. Let's allow the breath to be where the breath is, right here and now. Let's make room for God as the breath. Beautiful. And whether the breath appears to be deep or shallow, we are in gratitude that it is moving. There is no stagnation in our breath. There is no stagnation in our lives. We just keep opening and breathing and making room. And now that we are focused so intently and collectively on the breath, let's send that breath and that energy and our attention into the low belly. Sometimes we spend our day breathing high in the chest, and that only signals worry, doubt, and fear. We want to drop the breath way down. We want to expand the lungs and use its full capacity. We want to open completely to God as breath. And from this place of attention and focus, let's together inhale for a count of 4 into the low belly. Expand the low belly, breathing in. And hold for a count of 4. And open the mouth. Relax the jaw, sigh it out. Hear yourself releasing and letting go. And enjoy the silence at the end. Inhale again into the low belly, expanding, finding new places for breath to occupy, for God to enter, for God to fill. Hold it there. And open the mouth, relax the jaw, and sigh it out, releasing it from the low belly all the way up and out. And allow the silence to follow. In through the low belly, now up through and to the rib cage, expanding the sides of the body. There is so much room in there for breath. There's so much room in your experience and your awareness for God. Expand and hold it there. And sigh it out. Let it all go. Without collapsing the body, release that breath from low all the way up and out. And enjoy the silent connection to God. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding the sides and now the front, and sending that breath into the back, supported and sustained by God. Hold it there. And sigh it out. Allowing the spine and the navel to connect without collapsing, and sitting in the silence. Connecting low breath, inhaling up through mid-breath, all the way up to the heart, holding at the top when you arrive. And again, without collapsing the body, just release the breath and anything you're holding. And one final time, in through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding and making its way to the altar of love, the heart. Hold it there. And sigh it out. We take this time to breathe deeply in through the low belly, all the way up through the heart. And this time, when you reach the top, close the lips. And when you're ready, exhale through the nose for a count of 6. Nice and slow. As you count down, noticing relaxation filling the body and silence at the end. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, just letting it rise. Closing the lips, exhaling through the nose when you're ready. And when you've emptied completely, you've made room for God in the silence. Practice a few rounds of this deep breath on your own, in and out, emptying and welcoming God. It feels good to breathe and to relax and to open to wisdom and peace and prosperity and ease. Send all of this energy into the feet. Take your focus there, your breath there. Maybe you inhale and raise the heels or wiggle the toes. And as you release the breath, release the feet to the floor. Relax the feet. We are grounded in, we are connected to, it is flowing through Allow the energy to move up through the soles of the feet, across the ankles. Relax the ankles. Energy is always moving, and so we allow it to move across the shins and the calves. And as you exhale, relax the shins and the calves. Energy flows across the knees. Our flexibility, our ability to forgive and to release is located in the knees. Exhale, relax the knees. Energy flows across the thighs. You may feel tension in the glutes. Relax the glutes, the thighs, and the hamstrings. And all of this energy, all of this power is now available at the base of the spine. As you inhale, allow that energy to rise, and exhale, you make room for more. Inhale. Exhale and allow. Inhale. Exhale and allow. As the energy flows in and up, we exhale and we allow, we make room. In and up. Exhale and allow. And up. And up. And out the crown of your head. In our mind, we imagine this energetic field of light connecting us all, reminding us all of our power and our peace. Now flowing back down through the crown, across the third eye. Notice the sensation as it flows down the throat, releasing the throat, across the shoulders, down the arms, out to the fingertips. And you may turn the palms up to receive more, or turn the palms down and leave them there to ground yourself. Whatever feels good to you, to be in the receptive, connected, safe, loving presence of God. As we prepare for our silent time, note that the mind might wander. It's okay. It's doing what it does. As soon as we become aware, we bring it back to our affirmative thought. I make room for God. We release the judgment about thought. We bring ourselves present. And we allow love to be here now. I will monitor the time. You enjoy the experience of an open, flowing connection and a deeper peace. For I make room for God, and you make room for God now. With our eyes still closed, we enjoy these moments, these breaths, this awareness that God is here and all is well. With our eyes still closed, any time that our fear, doubt, and worry is clouding our ability to hear God, see God, and move as God in the world, we just affirm, we breathe, we close our eyes, and we say, I make room for God. I make room for God right here and now. Let's bring this power and this peace back with us. We don't leave God behind. We bring the connection and the truth of who and what we are into every moment. If the palms are turned up, turn them down and inhale, draw the shoulders up by the ears. Exhale, release the shoulders back and down. Inhale up. Exhale, releasing the shoulders back and down. And one more time. Inhale up. Exhale, releasing the shoulders back and down. Bringing the palms together at heart center. Lightly touching the thumbs into the sternum and bowing the chin towards the fingertips. And as you nice and gently bow the chin towards the fingertips, you'll notice there's an opening and a sensation at the base of the neck and all the way down the spine. We acknowledge that energy that is never stagnant, that is always flowing. And with ease and gentleness, we allow the eyelids to open. Nice gentle gaze, no strain on the eyes or the experience. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze, and release the breath. Namaste.
Yes, yes, yes. Namaste. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
And so we are in our series, Making Room for God. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you today. Today's message as we move into the next piece. We talked about clearing last week. And so today is about quiet listening. But of course, we're going to hear from Soul 21. And I will meet you on the other side with today's message, Give Love Your Undivided Attention.
Show me clearly. Show me clearly. Show me clearly. Clearly show me. Clearly show me. I will wait for you. Wait for me. I realize I don't have the answer. Show me clearly. I'm willing, I'm willing. Clearly show me. I'm willing to listen. I will wait. Like, show me clearly. Show me clearly. Clearly show me. Clearly show me. I'm gonna wait. I will wait for me. I realize I'm connected to that mind that has all the answers. Clearly show me. It can see life from a vantage point that I can't see. So I'm willing to wait for me. I will wait.
Yes, yes, yes. Show me clearly, clearly show me. I will wait for thee. Show me clearly, clearly show me. I will wait for thee. Thank you, Soul 21. Thank you, CSC Band. That song always moves me. Of course, it takes me back to when that melody and those lyrics first came to me as I was in my own moment of great challenge. I can't call it a crisis, but it was definitely great challenge, great frustration, and not knowing what to do. But as I recognized that I was connected to something that had a vantage point that I do not have, I could ask this question. I could make this declaration, show me clearly, clearly show me. And then my part is to be willing to wait to receive the answer. And the answer indeed did come. Well, hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever day, time it is, where you are right now. It is good. I don't want to take up too much time with the hellos and just dig into today's message because we have some good things to share, to talk about, and to think about. As always, I like to review where we've been because that informs where we're going today. And so in week 1, we started with the beginning is the ending. Grounding ourselves in an overview of what it means to make room for God and understanding that actually how we start something informs what the ending is going to look like. And I used the metaphor of the foundation of a building. That if we look at the Empire State Building, for instance, the foundation is 55 feet and 8 inches in the ground. Right? And that is a foundation that's required for a building of that magnitude and that stature, unlike a home that generally requires a foundation of several feet. And so we recognize then that the vision that we have for our life, the dream that we have for our life, the desires that we have for our lives require a corresponding foundation. And that then is what part of, at least, making room for God is all about. And so last week, we started with the first step in the process, which is clearing, and that the topic of that sermon, the potter and the clay. And we upended an old idea from the hymn, Have Thine Own Way, Lord, where we were taught that God is the potter and we are the clay, but we learned to affirm, I am the potter and I am the clay. Because you see, clearing actually requires us to understand that we have agency. By virtue of you existing, by virtue of you being here on the planet in this time-space reality, God has provided everything for you in terms of God being the potter. That already happened. But here in this realm, we are both the potter and the clay. And so then that clearing aspect requires us to focus on 4 things that I shared last week. Increased awareness of the nature of God life, increased awareness of your relationship to God life, increased awareness of your obligation to express God life. See, this is why we are the potter and the clay. And then finally, removal of any and all limiting concepts or patterns of thought which are preventing the fuller flow of God life through you. God life as you understand it, God life as you have come to understand it, God life as you are learning to understand it and embrace it. And so all of that is what clearing is all about. And I don't think I said this last week, but it's important to understand that the clearing phase, there's the removing, as I talked about last week. I said you don't have to, once you identify what you need to remove and you use a release statement or forgive myself and set myself free, you only have to do that once. That's true. But then the replacing aspect, this is something that then we start to live in, right? So I encourage you to take your new statements and use them for 21 to 30 days. But then our daily practice, the habits of our life are then all about doing these first 3 things: increasing our awareness of the nature of God life, increasing our awareness of our relationship to God life, and increasing our awareness of our obligation to express God life. And so that's what deepening our awareness and deepening our practice, and why we come here every Sunday, and why we tap into this vibration week in and week out, because that's what we're doing. And so on a certain level, the clearing piece is always happening, right? The replacing aspect of the clearing is always happening. So as a reminder, the 3 steps of making room for God is clearing, listening, and then planning, or quiet clearing, quiet listening, and quiet planning. And so when we think about listening and we hear this word listening, there are many questions that may come up, right? What does it mean to listen to God or to listen for God? Does God speak to anyone? Does God speak to everyone? And how do I know God's voice versus another voice? How can I trust that what I am hearing is indeed God's voice? And of course, we live in a world where people are invoking the name of God or the voice of God and causing great harm. And I know that none of you want to cause harm in your own life thinking that it was the voice of God, and of course, cause harm in another's life thinking that it's the voice of God. So the first thing that I want to do is to disrupt these questions by just changing one word. See, the step of quiet listening is actually a conversation with love. So we ask these questions again. What does it mean to listen to or listen for love? Does love speak to anyone? Does love speak to everyone? How do I know love's voice versus another voice? How can I trust that what I'm hearing is indeed love's voice? Now, I think what's beautiful about this is that on some level, just about everyone believes that they have a connection to love in some form or another. This then makes it easier for us to dive deeper into what it means to listen to love or have a conversation with love, because we've now removed some of the charge and trigger with that word God, and even the specialness of talking about, I heard the voice of God, right? And as though you have to be some special person or some gifted prophet or some holy person, right, to even have a conversation with God or hear the voice of God. But again, because we all, on some level, have an understanding of our connection to love or experience with love, this starts to bring it down to a level that we can receive. And so in the step of quiet listening, we're moving beyond simply listening or having a conversation. What we're actually learning to do is to give love our undivided attention. And so there's three things that we're going to look at today. We're going to look at the reality that love's mind is your mind. We're going to talk about divided attention, and then we're going to talk about undivided attention. Now, in order for us to be able to listen and then hear and receive, it requires us to come back to a foundational truth, a foundational idea, which is sort of New Thought 101, if you will, right? This is what makes one of the things that makes New Thought as a spiritual philosophy, as a spiritual tradition, because of one of these things that we believe and hold dear. See, how and why is listening to love possible? Well, it takes us back to something that you've heard me quote many times. If you've read Ernest Holmes and you read The Science of Mind, it's quoted many times. If you are reading now or have read in the past The 30-Day Mental Diet, it's quoted many times. And it's the first series of essays written by Ralph Waldo Emerson, where he writes in the very first essay these words, and I'm shifting the language to be inclusive just a bit. There is one mind common to all people. Every person is an inlet to the same and to all of the same. What Plato has thought, you may think. What a saint has felt, you may feel. What at any time has befallen any person, you can understand. Who hath access to this universal mind is a party to all that is or can be done, for this is the only and sovereign agent. Who hath access to this universal mind is a party to all that is or can be done, for this is the only and sovereign agent. And so there are two spiritual truths, again, that's New Thought 101, that's encoded in this message. First, the idea that there is one mind common to all people. And he ends by writing, and is the only and sovereign agent. So this is something that we stand on in New Thought, that in truth, there's only one power, right? And the manifestation that appears to be two powers is simply a misuse of us understanding how the law works, right? Because God responds to us. If I believe that I'm broke, poor, and not good enough, that's what I will receive, right? And so that's not what God believes about me, but that's simply how the law responds based on what I believe, because I'm the potter and the clay, so I'm determining the outcome, right? And so we believe and know and understand that there is one mind, and it is the only and sovereign agent. Now, not only is there one mind, but that mind is common to all. Every person is an inlet to the same and to all the same. What Plato has thought, you may think. We may think of the great philosopher Plato as being special or super learned or, a genius separate from you or I. But what Plato has thought, you may think. Why? Because we're all making use of the one mind. What a saint has felt, you may feel. Pick any saint you want. Pick any great avatar you desire across the span of human history. What that person has felt and known to be true, you may also feel and know to be true. Why? Because the same mind that was in Christ Jesus is also in you. The same mind that was in Lord Buddha is also in you. The same mind that is in Krishna is also in you. The same mind that is in Muhammad is also in you. The same mind that is in Moses is also in you. The same mind that is in any venerated sainted figure is also in you. And then the powerful thing is whoever has access to this universal mind, which is everybody, is party to all that is or can be done. Who has access? All people. What does this provide? Access to all that is. And we have to understand this piece if we're going to get to the listening. Because if you don't understand that you're connected to this mind and that this mind is common to all, and it's not just some people that hear from God, and other people don't. It's not some people that receive divine insight and others that don't. There's not some people that receive divine inspiration and others that don't. There's some people that receive genius ideas and others that don't. There are some people that receive financial ideas and others that don't. There are some people that receive direction in their healing and others that don't. Then it's like putting a block. It's actually like putting blocks in your ears, if you will, your spiritual ears, and you cannot hear. You won't be able to listen, and you won't be able to receive. So affirmation time. Let's affirm this together. Love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. One more time. Love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. And y'all know I love to do these affirmations 3 times. So let's do it again. Love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. Now, why is this important? I've already said it. We have been conditioned to believe that only certain people, special people, gifted people have access to the voice of love, while the rest of us are out here fending for ourselves, doing the best we can, and ultimately making bad decisions and choices that do not align with the best of us or our life's vision. Right? Think about it. It's like if you were about to make a financial decision, and you know that there are financial experts. There are people that can tell you how you should invest your money or where you should move your money, or there are people that have great insight into how to budget your money. But if you don't think you have access to those people, if you think that, I can't afford that, or to get this kind of information, I already need to be wealthy to get this information, then you're going to be stuck just on your own, making bad choices. But what if it just so happened your best friend was one of those financial experts? It just so happened that your beloved sibling or someone else that's close to you has that expertise, right? Then all of a sudden you're like, let me call them up, right? I know they're going to give me the right information, right? And you wouldn't be worried and cutting yourself off from information. Well, the thing is, when you understand that there is one mind common to all, this mind, this voice of love, it is your best friend that has the information that you can call any every time. When you understand that there is one mind common to all and you have access to the all that is, you have an expert, you have a mentor, you have a friend, call it what you will, that is available to you to give you the information and lead you and guide you into truth, into good decisions, into beneficial decisions, into constructive decisions, so that never again will you be out here fending for yourself, doing the best you can, and ultimately making bad decisions and bad choices that don't align with life's intention for you and that don't align with the best of who and what you are. Now, I love what Willis Kinnear writes in the 30-Day Mental Diet, because he reminds us, he says, you need to remember that your mind is not your mind, but an individualization of infinite intelligence. Surrender the thought that you are the prime source of your every idea and become a more perfect instrument for its action. So in surrendering the thought that you are the source of your every idea, you are now entering into the posture of quiet listening and giving love your undivided attention. It's okay to not know it all. Right? We've been taught to kind of live in this world where it's like, I have to know it all, right? I have to be self-sufficient. This takes us back to one of our previous series this year where I talk about that insidious lie of being self-made. And who wants to be self-made? I don't. Especially not when I understand that I have a mind that's common to all people, that I can think what Plato thought and feel what a saint has felt and what at any time has come to any person. I can understand that I actually have access to a universal mind that is party to all that is, all information, all knowledge that is beyond my limited vantage point. I don't want to be self-made. I'm surrendering the thought that I'm the prime source of my every idea. But I'm living in the awareness and the reality that I am connected to solutions, that I am connected to every idea. And as I bring myself into that posture of surrendering, now I make myself available. Then I put myself in the posture of giving love my undivided attention. Without an awareness of this connection, without a surrender of that old thought, you cannot hear or distinguish the voice of love. This is why the clearing steps are so necessary to incorporate in our daily lives. As I talked about it, as we increase our awareness of the nature of God life and our relationship to it, then we become more apt and more willing to trust and live from the awareness that love's mind is our mind and love's voice is our voice. And we are not alone, and we don't have to do it alone. And no matter what it looks like, we are not alone. No matter what situation we're in, we have expertise available to us. Hear that. You ain't got to be an expert, but you need to know that you have an expert. See, that's the difference. We run around out here thinking that we have to be the expert. Meanwhile, God is quietly knocking at the door of our life with expertise. And that expertise might show up as an idea that bubbles up from within you, or it might show up as a chance encounter. You on the bus and you have a seemingly random conversation and you receive the information you need, or you're sitting on the bus and you see a billboard that points you to the information you need, right? Or you were invited to go somewhere that has nothing to do with what's going on in your life or the answer that you need in this moment to the challenge that's going on, but you go there and you meet someone, or that person points you to another person. You just have to remember, I always have expertise. I always have knowledge and information with me. This is why it's so powerful to know and affirm God as not just all-knowing or wise, like this wise old man with a long white beard. God is omniscience. It is wisdom and intelligence itself. And wisdom and intelligence itself is flowing in, through, and as you. It's like the difference of knowing that, oh, there's a book at the library that has information that will be useful to me versus the book is already in my possession. And that's what we're talking about. The book is already in your possession, but you got to open it up. You got to put it off the shelf. You got to open it up, right? You got to read it. And that's what surrendering the thought that you are the prime source of every idea is all about. Understanding this connection to love that is always in conversation with us, we can also tease out another truth. See, when I give my undivided attention to love, I am giving undivided attention to myself. Ooh, wow. Take a breath, y'all. Because see, again, this is just, it's what's here, and I'm following the leading, right? See, we operate in this posture of what we don't have, or what we don't know, or we think we're not smart enough, or we don't have information in this specific area, right? And so then what we're doing is we're doubting and diminishing ourselves, which in truth, because we are one with God, we are doubting and diminishing God within us. But the truth is that once we understand this and start to give our undivided attention to love, what we're really doing is then moving into this aspect of loving self. I am giving undivided attention to myself. I'm giving undivided attention to my relationship with the all that is, to my relationship with love, to my relationship to that best friend that has the information, to my relationship to my team of experts, to my relationship with my wisdom council, right? We could go on and on. Use whatever words and metaphors feel good to you. Because you see, divided attention is interesting, because while it is akin to distracted attention, I specifically used the word divided attention because I think it best describes where most people are, especially those who, like you, are practicing these metaphysical principles at some level and desire to deepen your practice of the principles. See, when our attention is divided and we're not also giving attention to ourselves, because again, when we are giving attention to love, we're really giving attention to ourselves. When your attention is divided, your results reflect that divided attention. Your attention is divided, and that's why you might still be stuck. Your attention is divided, and that's why you haven't gotten to a solution. Your attention is divided. And that's why the same problems and issues keep coming up over and over and over and over again. So we have a sense, we know that we should give love some of our attention, but we have our feet in two worlds. We have our foot over here in the old way of thinking, the old paradigm, and then we have our foot over here in the new thinking, the new paradigm. And at some point in your journey, you're going to have to make a choice. Am I going to give love my undivided attention? Or am I going to give love part of my attention? Or am I not even going to give love my attention, right? And no heat, no judgment, that's your choice. But as long as you're straddling, that's where the chaos is. Right? As long as you're straddling, that's where the stuckness is, right? As long as you're straddling, that's why you will never get to a solution. As long as you're straddling, you're going to keep bringing up the same things over and over again. So what does divided attention look like? And I might be getting in your business. I apologize. I might not be. But the first thing that comes to mind is that when our attention is divided, your spiritual tools, like your daily spiritual practice, prayer, meditation, using any other spiritual practices or tools, they tend to be the last resort. You wait till you get in crisis to then be like, oh, what did Pastor Greg and Pastor Yolanda say? After you done tried everything else, you done tried everything according to your own knowledge, thinking that you were the prime source of ideas. So you did everything you thought you knew to do, but forgot to put your spiritual connection to the all that is first, right? You forgot to connect to this thing that you're party to, this universal mind, and then that becomes the last resort. Oh, my back is against the wall. I'm in crisis now. Now let me figure out how to use the 3 steps for the 3-column prayer, or let me try to figure out the 5-column prayer. Or, oh, let me start my 5-5-5. I haven't done it in like 3 months, but let me start now. See, that's an indicator of divided attention. What does divided attention look like? You tend to point to all the reasons and people that are to blame for where you are in your life. This is why last week's message was so important, this idea of understanding that you are the potter and the clay. Because understanding that you are the potter and the clay, You're less willing to blame others, right? Because you recognize you have power. Have thine own way, life, have thine own way. I am the potter, I am the clay. No more will I be timid or still. Joyful and happy, your will is my will. So living from that reality, I'm less willing. That's not my tendency. That's not going to be the first place I go, to blame people and all the other things outside of us for what's going on in my life. What does divided attention look like? You tend to make decisions based on how it will make others feel. You tend to make decisions based on taking care of others. You tend to make decisions based on pleasing or making others happy. Your attention ain't on love. Because again, undivided attention to love is actually giving undivided attention to self. But if you're making decisions and leading with how is it going to make them feel? How is it going to please them? Oh, I got to take care of them. Oh, I got to make them happy. That's divided attention, y'all. What does divided attention look like? You tend to put your needs last, or you may completely ignore your needs altogether. What does divided attention look like? You tend to minimize your desires because you don't want to be too much. You don't want to be too loud. You don't want to be too flashy, or you don't want to take away from someone else. Giving undivided attention to love is giving undivided attention to yourself. It is allowing your light to shine. I've used this idea before, as we read from the teachings of Jesus, this idea of you are the salt of the earth, right? And so, of course, I just think about seasoning, right? And so when we minimize ourselves, that's like pulling away seasoning from a good dish. It's bland, right? And life itself is bland when you dim and diminish yourself in any way, thinking that you're taking away from someone else. Now, I could go on and on. I think y'all get the point. These are just some of the ways that undivided attention shows up in our lives and out in the real world. And why is it divided? Because in the midst of these things, you're still here. You still desire to use and practice these principles, but unfortunately, you have one foot in lack, limitation, and scarcity, and the other foot in hope, possibility, and abundance. Quiet listening requires undivided attention. And who or what are we paying attention to? Who or what are we listening to? We're listening to love. We're paying attention to love. Affirmation time, let's say it again. Love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. Love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. Love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. So this process of making room for God, clearing, listening, planning. We clear so we can hear. We do, as A Course in Miracles puts it, we remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. I love that idea, which is your natural inheritance, because that takes us right back to what Emerson was talking about. There's a mind that's common to all people. It's not special, right? Just like the oxygen, the air that we breathe is common to all humans, just as this planet that is our home is common to us all, right? Rich or poor, tall or short, right? It doesn't matter who you are, or how you present in the world, right? This thing is common to all of us. In the same way, that's the idea of a natural inheritance, that we remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And the presence of love is our natural inheritance. This conversation with love is our natural inheritance. All the fruits that come from recognizing that we are one with love itself, and its mind is our mind, and its voice is our voice, that's our natural inheritance. And what is, again, that natural inheritance? It is that we become party to all that is. We have access to answers. We have access to knowledge. We have access to wisdom. We have access to intelligence. We have access to expertise. We have access to solutions. We have access to new ways of seeing. We have access to new ways of being. We have access to support. We have access to guidance. We have access. We have access. We have access. And that is your natural inheritance. Hello, somebody. This feels so good to me. Love is here and is always here. Love is speaking and is always speaking. It does not push or prod or force us to pay attention to it. If it did any of those things, it ain't love. This is one of the ways we can know, to answer the question earlier about how do we know that it's actually love's voice. I encourage you to go back to the wonderful text that we find in the Second Testament. Love is patient, love is kind. Love does not envy. It holds no record of wrongs. The information that comes to you, it'll never be forced, right? The ways in which it comes to you, it'll be easy and effortless. Again, sometimes you'll hear it within your own being. Sometimes you'll get an idea, right, within your own mind. Beautiful. Other times it might just come through a casual conversation, through a suggestion, through a seemingly random email. And then it's up to you. It'll be up to you to follow up. It'll be up to you to say, oh, I'll check that out. It'll be up to you to say, I don't see how this adds up from my logical mind. I don't see how this works, but I recognize that I'm connected to something that has a vantage point that I don't have. And so I'm willing to do that. It's what happens so often many times when we use our GPS, right? It's like, I don't know why it's taking me this way, but I'm going to trust, right? The GPS has access to traffic data that we can't see. And so it's giving you an alternate route because it knows the route that you would normally take, or the route that seems quicker, is jammed up right now, right? It's the same type of trust. Giving love our undivided attention is living in a way that puts this connection to the universal mind that Emerson writes about front and center. This is why how you start your day matters. This is why what you read matters. This is why what you watch and absorb into your mind matters. This is why how you speak about yourself matters. This is why how you speak about your life and your life affairs matter. See, this is not, and we can do this when we get into this space as we start to learn these principles, and then this becomes another form of dogma, right? This becomes another way to shame and guilt ourselves, right? So I want to say this as I talk about the idea of what divided attention looks like. It is not my intention or desire to shame you. It is my intention and desire to bring something to your awareness, to bring something to our awareness, that we understand that we have access to answers, to wisdom, to divine intelligence. And the only way that we can reinforce, the only way that we know that we have access is to reinforce this daily connection. Right? And that's why we do it. That's why we say here at CSC, daily spiritual practice is not an option. We're not saying that like it's one of the 10 commandments, thou shalt have a daily spiritual practice. Thouest must do your 555. Like, no, like, because the world's not going to stop spinning if you don't do your 555. And the truth is, you will still experience some good in your life. Before you learned about 555, was there any good in your life? Before you had or developed a meditation practice, or before you had or developed a specific daily practice, did you experience some good in your life? Did you experience some joy in your life? Absolutely. Right? So this is not a rule in that sense, right? And if you don't do it, then God's going to get you, or you're going to be doomed. No, the rain falls on the just and unjust. The sun will still shine, right? You'll still have birthdays. You'll still eat cake. You'll like wonderful things will still happen in your life. But the reality is it will be minimal, infinitesimal, like a piece of dust compared to all the good that's possible if you expand your awareness to what's possible. And that's why it matters. Not that it's a rule, but that's why it matters. It matters how you start your day. It matters what you read. It matters what you absorb. It matters how you speak. about yourself and about your life and about your affairs, about your bank account, about your children, about your family, about your home, about your body. It matters from this vantage point. And here's yet another reason why this conversation with love is so powerful. Just as every prayer is answered, every question is answered. If you have a question, by the very nature that the question exists, the answer must also exist. And now, understanding that you are, as Emerson says, a party to all that is, there is no question that you cannot ask of love. There is an opportunity here to practice going to love first. If you've never done this, and this is not the human tendency, right? This is becomes our spiritual tendency. There's an opportunity here to practice asking love for direction and guidance. Remember, we surrender the thought that we are the prime source of ideas or answers, and we trust our eternal connection with love, with intelligence, with guidance, with support, with the all that is. Affirmation time. Love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. Love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. For a third time, love's mind is my mind. And love's voice is my voice. So what have you been trying to solve on your own? What things have you been beating yourself up about that you feel like you should know the answer, that you feel like you should be able to figure out? Where do you feel stuck in your life right now? Where does it feel like your back is against the wall? What solutions do you need? What answers do you need? What financial needs do you have? Are you in need of healing? This week, give love your undivided attention. Start with today's affirmation. Love's mind is my mind, and love's voice is my voice. And then simply add, inspired by today's song, show me. Love, show me the solution to this problem. And it's interesting here, and then this is where we get into the power of affirmative prayer and affirmative talk and affirmative thought. It's a question, but it's also a command. Right, I'm loving, and PY can tell you, I'm delving into the world of AI and using Chat GPT, right? And so it responds to your prompts, right? You can ask it any question. You have to give it certain information, and you even have to prime it, right? You have to kind of tell the computer, give it some parameters, like, okay, you think and believe this way, if you will, and then based on being this type of person, if you will, this type of intelligence, then answer these questions. And so it's really a command in as much as it's a question. And that's important, because even if you're saying, show me, love, show me the solution to this problem, but you're asking it as though you're still talking to something outside of yourself. You're asking it as though you may have learned to ask questions of God, or, God, I know I haven't talked to you much. And, we see that depicted all the time in movies. It absolutely annoys me. I roll my eyes. Anytime somebody decides to pray in a movie, right? It's always like, hey, God, I know we don't talk much, but, I'm really in a jam right now. If you're listening, it really would. That's not how it works. Because again, there's a mind that's common to all people, and we are all party to it. So that posture is irrelevant, right? And that posture is not acknowledging what is absolutely true. That posture is divided attention. So we start with today's affirmation. Love's mind is my mind, and love's voice is my voice. And then we can say, show me, love, show me the solution to this problem, as a command. Love, show me the first step to take in my healing. Love, show me a $10,000 idea. Love, show me the way through this challenge. Love, show me how to speak lovingly to myself. Love, show me how to forgive myself. And then we live in the process of receptivity. We live in the space of recognizing that if love's voice is our voice, if love's mind is our mind, and that God or love is the all that is, then it shows up in an infinite number of ways, right? It does not have to be, again, sometimes we get an idea. We have a light bulb moment. Absolutely. We all have those, right? And it's just like, I just had a nudge. I just had an idea within me, right? But so often I've lived in that show me place, and I saw something on a billboard and it was like a conversation. It was a direct answer to what was going on, right? Or I was reading something that seemed unrelated and I was arrested by a piece of information that gave me what I needed. Or even I was scrolling on social media and the right thing showed up in the right way, right? Something I needed to hear. And so it's important that we also make room. If we understand that God is the all that is, right, then God makes use of any and everything. It could be a child that speaks the answer that shows you, right? It could be an animal, right? It could be a random show on TV. It could be anything. And again, we stay open to that, right? That this conversation with love is happening in, through, and as all things. And so then we give love our undivided attention. We stay receptive. But I got to say this. Don't ask this question if you're going to go out and keep doing the same things you've been doing, because that's divided attention. Don't ask this question if you're not going to start your day with intention and connection with your source. Don't ask this question if you're going to keep watching bad relationships on TV while you're talking about love. Show me how to find my lover. Lord have mercy. Don't ask this question if you're going to keep complaining about the economy or that there's not enough money, but you're asking, show me a $10,000 idea. Show me how to raise my credit score. Don't ask this question if you're going to keep dimming your light and putting yourself down or putting others down so you can feel special or important. Don't ask this question if you're not ready to take responsibility for your mind. Ooh, oh my goodness, Lord have mercy. Because again, that's what that clearing step last week, I am the potter and I am the clay. You're taking responsibility for your mind. Don't ask this question if you're not willing to do that. Give love your undivided attention. Love is always speaking. Love is always here. When we give our attention to it, a new world opens up to us. We are guided, we are supported with ease, and we navigate this life experience from that moment on, knowing that we are never, ever, ever alone. I look forward to sharing with you next week as we move forward with the next step. I trust that you are continuing with your new affirmations from the clearing step, which you are now welcoming in and accepting and allowing into your life, because we must live in that place on a daily basis. And there's some things that may have come up through this sermon that it's like, oh, I need to welcome and allow and accept some other things that I hadn't put in the list. All good, add to it, right? Because then that can become a part of your daily spiritual practice, right? You can affirm those things out loud. You can use that as your writing step and write them down in your 5 minutes of affirmative writing if you're practicing the 5-5-5 spiritual practice. And examine your life. Pick one thing, just one thing, that you have a question around, that you're looking for support around, that right now you feel stuck. Love's mind is my mind, and love's voice is my voice. And then, spiritually speaking, type in the command, show me. Love is always speaking. Let us get to listening. From this place of awareness, I say, amen, ashe, and so it is.
Well, well, well. I won't even say yes, 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 because I see from the comments that you are loving the message today, that you're feeling the message today. So now what are you going to do with what you feel? Are you going to keep straddling the fence? Okay, that's fine. Are you going to go back the other way into fear, doubt, and worry? Or are you going to give your undivided attention to love? It's really simple. It's very simple. We make it complicated. The moment you are in worry, doubt, and fear, you realize and recognize your attention is divided. It's that simple. And then what are you going to do? You're going to make the conscious choice to give your undivided attention to love. You're going to say, show me. You're going to affirm that love's mind is my mind now. Love's voice is my voice now. It's very easy. It's almost so easy you think it has to be hard. Mm-hmm. The moment you become aware that you are in worry, doubt, and fear, in that moment, not next week, not 2 days from now, oh, maybe I should have. The moment you become aware, you choose to give your undivided attention to love. PG told you all the steps and all the reasons why you need to and how to. This week, practice it. Don't just leave here feeling good. Leave here knowing how to activate the good.
Yeah.
Thank you, PG.
You're welcome. I'm just noticing in the comments, so I want to address and correct. Because I mentioned these things, and right, we have these words and acronyms. The 555, I'm referring to a daily spiritual practice that we teach here at CSC. It's 5 minutes of reading something that's inspirational, 5 minutes of meditation, and 5 minutes of affirmative journaling, right? And so that could be writing out your gratitudes. It could be intentionally writing about how you want your day to go.
Could be writing your affirmations over and over and over and over.
Right, over those 5 minutes. And so you can actually learn that process. You're here on YouTube. So on our YouTube channel, we have Practice the Practice, where PY and I taught that. We take you through all of the steps. You can also download a PDF that you'll see there, which gives you more things to read to support you in developing your own 555 practice. The 3-column prayer is a simple prayer formula. And so you will also find here on our YouTube channel, if you look for there's a prayer partners. We actually pulled out the clip of how walk through the process of what you would do with a prayer partner, but also specifically understanding the 3-column prayer, how to craft a prayer that's very simple and easy to remember. Something as simple as God within me heals me now. Right, that's a powerful prayer based on the 3-column prayer method, and so I encourage you to dig in and watch those videos as they'll continue to support you. And we'll also repost, maybe even share it in the email as this has come up, because it's a good question. Mm-hmm. And again, some folks have been around a long time, and we use these acronyms. Forgive me. So thank you for asking it, and we're happy to answer. So in this moment, it is time for giving, and you see the information here on your screen, how easy it is to give, mm-hmm. and it's really, of course, you can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, or you can text your dollar amount to the number on your screen, 347-744-9500. But what's most important is that you give what feels good, right? What's most important that even you give from the understanding of why we give, even on a practical level, right? That we understand that there are folks who you may never know that have given to CSC so that the first time you arrived, it would be here and available, right? There are folks that are still giving, right, that support this stream and the technology and all of the things that we need to present this in the way that we do, with the equipment and the various subscriptions that are required. Somebody's been giving that then allowed this to happen. And then if this is your first time, or whenever your first time was, that then
even if you've been gone for a while and you come back.
Exactly. And so on a practical level, that's why we give. But then we also recognize that giving is a spiritual practice. And as we give, we receive, right? And so as long as we stay in the posture of giving, then we can also stay in the posture of receiving with absolute unfettered expectation. Right? And from that place of awareness, as we give, then we can affirm all the money that I use.
All the money that I use.
Returns to me multiplied.
Returns to me multiplied.
In a never-ending cycle.
In a never-ending cycle.
Of increase.
Of increase.
And enjoyment.
And enjoyment.
To that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is. So I'm looking at the time, and I said to PY last night, I was like,
yeah,
I'm
he said to me,
I said, I'm gonna try to keep it, within, but I said, but I'm also gonna, where spirit leads me, I'm gonna allow myself to be led. So I'm grateful for each and every one of you, grateful to be here, looking forward to more next week. But again, we have the God Talk, which is happening shortly at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're on our mailing list, go to your inbox, look for Friday's email. You'll see the details for the Zoom link. And we look forward to sharing with you all in that space. For those who cannot make the God Talk, we look forward to connecting on Wednesday for the Momentum Prayer Call. And if you're unable to make the prayer call, then we will be together again as one family for the weekend service next Sunday. We love and appreciate you all. Have an amazing remainder of your day and keep thriving throughout the week. And remember, guard your heart and mind this week. Guard your heart and mind.
Take care of your heart and mind.
Yeah.
Love yourself enough to surround yourself with the knowledge that God is and all is well. Love yourself enough to turn off what is causing you pain and suffering.
Absolutely. All right. We love you. Bye for now.
Bye for now.